Hi, Colleen.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I feel like I'm stamping out fires, but it's okay. You're muted.
I said Zoom and I'm not getting along this morning.
Ah, I understand. I'm fine with Zoom. It was yesterday setting up, Monday when I was setting up the Zoom link that wasn't getting along with me. Oh, I felt like I needed to never get out of bed on Monday morning.
Yeah. Oh, we've been getting the library repainted this week, so we're closed.
Yeah, I saw those pictures. They look good.
Yeah. We're getting the rest of it painted. My assistant director and I'm moving books back on the shelves and all the work.
Oh, yeah, but if your staff, if you and your staff do it, the books are in the right spot versus,
Well, we're still recovering from summer reading, so that's not completely true.
well, yeah. They never are in the right spot after summer reading. Come on, too many kids have been in there.
This finally will take care of all the projects I've been doing since I've been the director, and I'll be the director 9 years in January. So the flooring's been replaced, the walls have been repainted.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't get done, was on the agenda to do this year, was the Humansville Library needs a refresh. It needed paint and flooring and all of that. So I didn't get to that before I said goodbye.
Biggest thing is, we posted 6 weeks ago, hey, we're going to be closed. The phone lines were saying, hey, we're going to be closed this week. It's amazing how many people still coming, banging on the door and
Oh, yeah.
calling.
They don't pay attention to signs and reading. Are you kidding? You actually expect somebody to read at a library?
I know. Especially when they actually look at the sign and then they're out of the door again just to make double
Yeah.
sure. Well, I'm gonna mute myself and start moving more books and just listen in on the meeting.
Sounds like okay.
Okay.
Morning, Carrie.
Morning. Thanks for saying something. I wasn't sure my sound was working.
Oh, okay. Well, Jake and I were chatting right before you got on, so.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Colleen, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, perfect. Just I don't want it to get to the part where I have to say something and then
You can't say
my
anything?
mouth is just moving and nothing.
Hi, Shannon.
I did that in a meeting earlier this week, where I was just talking away and it's like, no, you guys can't hear me.
Most people prefer me that way.
I won't say a word about that. I'm keeping an eye on my email too, just in case somebody tries the wrong link that I goofed on. So.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning. That's a good point. Please drop your name in the chat so we know you were here. I know Terry will say it later, but I'll probably forget to do it, but you know.
You know me so well, Carrie.
I know. I just felt it.
You felt it.
Kate, how are you? It's been like 2 weeks.
I am doing well.
Good.
I bought a new car this week, so
Oh,
I'm like on a high until I have to make that first car
oh
payment.
yeah. So enjoy that first 40 days or whatever it is. Yeah.
What'd you buy?
It was my first brand new car of my
Ooh.
whole life. It was a 2025 Mazda CX-50.
Nice. I'm surprised you're here and you're just not driving around or something.
Heather says she imagines me in a sweet sporty convertible. Oh, I wish.
Yeah. You have
I
the
don't
hair
know.
for it.
My back, I could not get my butt off the ground in a little sporty thing.
They've lent me a car before, and I'm like, I can only get in and out of an SUV. You're going to have to do better. Seeing me climb in and out of those things that are dragging the ground, it's comical.
Now, see, I love my little Mazda 3 because it does sit low to the ground. But
Well,
I'm only 5'2", so
I know,
I sit low to the ground.
I didn't say it, you did.
I
But
know.
challenged, yeah.
Okay, girls, I have a Mini Cooper
Oh my
convertible.
gosh.
Oh my
Just saying.
goodness.
Rhonda, I'm so jealous. I had a
There's
Mini
the cool
Cooper and I had
kid.
to sell it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I feel like your
Rhonda's
Mini
cool
Cooper
kid.
would fit in the back of my Carnival. I keep getting bigger and bigger vehicles to where I can just transport bodies now, like a coroner van. And
okay.
this,
Here's the deal. I got it when I finished homeschooling all my kids.
Oh,
Okay,
So
good for
after
you.
22 years of homeschooling, that was my reward. So woo.
I can't fit in there with you. I think that's genius.
No, no. Plus it's a stick and most of them don't know how to drive it. So
I
That's
love
genius.
that.
That's good. Do we
You
feel like
all-
everyone's here, Colleen?
I will never forget. I have to tell you this before you start, because
Go,
you mentioned
Greg.
home bodies. I will never forget. When I worked at the school district, I had a teacher that did not want to pay for the funeral home to go to Barnes to pick up her mother who passed. So she went and got her in her Dodge Caravan. I will never forget that story. Never forget it.
I did not even realize that was legal.
I didn't either.
I'm not trying to show anybody up, but I had a friend who lost a child, and it was in another state, in Chicago at Rush Presbyterian, and I transported the child in my Pontiac Vibe.
Oh
Girl,
my
you win.
goodness.
You
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
She didn't want to pay the funeral director, again, like Greg's friend, she didn't want to pay the funeral director to go pick up the remains, so the child's body. So I was at the hospital with her, and I said, I will take you home and come back and get the child if that makes you feel
Oh,
better.
God bless you. I
So,
cannot.
well, but in a Pontiac Vibe, Greg.
It was not.
I
a
could have
vibe.
done both at once.
I was
could have
just
done-
praying I wouldn't get
The
stopped.
whole, yeah, no kidding. Like, what's that in the back seat? Front,
A new carpet. You know?
yeah, wow.
Best
Like the
start to a
Adam
meeting ever, right here. Right here it
Yeah, I
happened.
love this start to
All
the
of us
meeting. I
win.
hope we're being recorded. I really do. Okay, well, welcome everyone. We'll call the meeting to order because that was awesome. We will approve the minutes. I hope you all have had a chance to read the minutes. It was from our last time when we were all live together in the room, which that's fun. I love when we can be together. Did anyone see anything that needed to be amended? Or does anyone want to make a motion?
I move to accept the minutes as presented.
Thank you, Kate. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Krista, I heard Krista say her name, so see. She wins second. Okay, any discussion or any amendments or anything? Okay. All in favor say aye or raise your hand or whatever it is you're doing. Okay. Any opposed? Put it in chat. Okay. Now, let's go on to the executive board report. So I think we're recommendation to the membership to adopt the fiscal year 26 budget. Let's go, Shannon.
Good morning.
Morning.
Let me bring up the budget. I just need, there we go. Okay. In the meeting packet, the proposed FY 2026 budget was included. With that budget, we did have a column that showed the approved 2025 budget, column V, and then we had year-to-date 2025 actuals in column P. A big change in this particular budget from previous years is an increase in LSTA funding. The state library reached out, FY 25/26 LSTA funding has been committed and approved. They wanted to increase the grant amount to Missouri Evergreen. So they're covering the full Equinox hosting and support fee for FY 25, FY 26 at $218,902. That grant's been submitted and approved. They shared with us that with the uncertainty in IMLS and future LSTA funding, they wanted to support Missouri Evergreen as we transition to a financial framework that might be sustainable and independent from funding from the state library. And so increasing that funding this year was their way of supporting Missouri Evergreen and reaching that goal. So what we'll do this year in this proposed budget, assuming that the membership adopts it, we will use the LSTA funds to fully cover the Missouri Evergreen, the Equinox hosting and support fee. The Missouri Evergreen membership fees that we collect this year will then be deposited into our reserve account, anything over and above what we spend in 25, 26. And that will allow us to transition in the event that LSTA funding is not available in future years. That will allow us to transition into a financially independent, sustainable model. Most of the other lines that you'll see here are very similar to previous years. You will see a jump in the payroll expenses since we've transitioned from a contracted executive director to an executive director that's an employee of Missouri Evergreen. In addition to the executive director, our consortium cataloger is an employee of Missouri Evergreen. So we now have 2 employees. And that allows us to do some things to support both of those positions that include purchasing equipment. If there's a IRS checklist that determines whether or not you're a contractor or an employee.
Shannon, did we lose you?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we all lost you, Shannon. Not sure why.
Not sure what was going on. I mean, the meeting was just starting whenever my internet just kind of went kaput.
Oh,
And so I had to restart mine, so.
uh-oh. Okay.
So I don't know if it's a Zoom thing or an internet thing. She's not rejoined on the waiting room yet.
Okay. I hate to waste time. Colleen, do you want to start like maybe your executive director report?
Yeah, we can go back to
Okay. I mean,
Shannon's-
yeah, we'll jump back in with her as soon as she reappears.
Yeah, no problem. Quite a bit has been happening on the migration side. Ozark Regional will be migrating back to Missouri Evergreen October 1st. They already have received their grant. They had a kickoff meeting and they're on a very short timeline because they are on a Missouri Evergreen system already. I mean, an Evergreen system already. As far as, let's see, we've received quotes from Equinox for Bonne Terre, Centralia, Crystal City, Lewis Library, and Sedalia. So those are the other 5 that we hope to migrate this year. Sedalia and Crystal City will both have to rebarcode, and I know Sedalia is in the process of writing a grant. Crystal City is too. Lewis Library and Centralia both have rebarcoding grants already, and I think that Lewis Library is getting close to finishing up with rebarcoding, whereas Centralia is about 40% done. We also received inquiries and an application from Mid-Missouri Regional and Library Center of the Ozarks. They have both submitted applications to join Missouri Evergreen. Both are wanting to wait until FY27 to migrate, so therefore we have tabled their until at least the new board takes place, so they don't sit with an MOU for over a year before they migrate.
Colleen, I'm sorry to interrupt. There's an email thread going on. A lot of directors they're trying to get that old link, but we
Okay.
updated them with the new link. So you'll probably have a bunch of people trying to get in to the waiting room.
Okay, did you send, I was checking all of that before my email, before my internet went down, so.
Yeah, we sent the updated link.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I have had a couple more that have joined since then. I know most of you have been kind of keeping an eye on the message B thing. We have had in July a rash of messages that were getting bounced back for spam. It mainly included just 10 libraries that were somehow one of their patrons were marking it as spam, and we worked with MessageBee and Unique Management and Equinox and those 10 libraries to try to figure out how to keep that from happening. We have made some changes within the way those 10 libraries are being sent out as far as MessageBee. And I'm happy to report that we have not had a single spam return since August 1st. But that's knock on wood, stand on your head. It may happen again. But we're hoping that it doesn't. As Shannon was reporting before she got knocked off, I did write the FY26 grant that was approved for $218,902. And I did send out the survey to MEC libraries to fill out for the FY25 grant. I have got about half of you have turned it in. So if you've not turned it in, please do so. I can send out another link. We are required to do that for our grant. And it also gives us very valuable information about what the membership is feeling about things and where we need to go in the current the next fiscal year as far as what the library the Missouri Evergreen needs to concentrate on. Let's see. Aspen, we have 5 new libraries that are migrating to Aspen. They will actually have a soft launch on September 11th, and I did not write them all down, so I'm afraid I will miss them, but I know it is Livingston, West Plains, Cameron, North Kansas City, and Webb City. So hopefully we'll be getting that up and running soon. Because I am not as familiar with Aspen as what I feel I should be, I've been attending as many of those training sessions as what I can, so I can intelligently talk about it because I don't know what it does. Let's see. Most of you have updated your support desk tickets with contact information with Equinox, and I got that sent in. And that's kind of about it for the director's report. Anything else? Questions anybody want to have?
Colleen, could you tell me the libraries in Aspen again for the minutes? I did not get them all.
West Plains, Webb City, Livingston County, Cameron, and North Kansas City.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, Colleen. I'm sorry. This is Krista from Kirkwood, and I think you cut out right when you said there was the library name who's already on an Evergreen system, and I totally missed that name.
Ozark Regional.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure, no problem. Ozark Regional. So they will have a little bit shorter migration than normal. We actually anticipate and need to have them on by October 1st. And they plan on resource sharing from the very beginning.
So do you know, are they self-hosting right now? Their own?
They are hosted with Mobius.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Thank
They
you.
used to be part of Missouri Evergreen, and then they went along on their own, and now they're coming back.
Great. Thank you so much. That's as a newbie, I didn't know any of that, but I thought that was very interesting that somebody else was using Evergreen on their own. So great.
Yeah, I am admitting Shannon back in, so she will be back in soon.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. Any other questions for me?
Colleen,
Yes.
we had the Aspen meeting yesterday, and it's something that was brought up about, it's an all or nothing proposition for the Renaissance, oh, help me out, Renaissance AR
Accelerated.
bookfinder. Yeah, that's it. And that's one of the things that I don't know if we need to bring that up to the consortium or to the executive board, but that was one of the things that Rogan had said something about. It was an all or nothing. So I don't know if anybody else out there has a subscription with Renaissance, the AR Bookfind, for accelerator readers. But if so, maybe contact you. So maybe we can get that discussion going.
Yeah,
And
I
all
missed
the
that
other
meeting
Aspen
yes-
libraries if they're interested as well.
I missed that meeting yesterday because I was stuck on a phone call, but, yeah, maybe we need to figure out whether that's something that we need to, discuss as the board and figure out where we need to go.
Is
Okay, just bring
Renaissance
that
the, sorry, Sue. Is Renaissance the only vendor that we can get that AR information for? Because we do already get that information from Syndetics, which we of course already pay for. So there was a thread from the Aspen libraries that are currently using Aspen about that as well. Wondering if Syndetics was an option that could be utilized since we already subscribe to it.
Right. And that's a very strong possibility. I guess I'm not on that Aspen. I thought I was listserv, but I'll double check on that. But I will, like I said, in our meeting for our cohort, that was something that was brought up, and Rogan said that he can make it happen, but it'd be an all or nothing. Like we would all Aspen libraries would have to agree to that, and didn't know if anybody else had access to it, had already purchased subscription. There was a lot more detailed, but I'm just bringing that up to the table for discussion for later. But yeah, if Syndetics can do it, then we can use that. Basically what we were looking at is the actual the AR points and the levels and all that good stuff. So anyway,
Somebody
thanks, Kate.
just mentioned an Aspen list. Is there an Aspen listserv?
Yeah, you can join it on the Missouri Evergreen website. It's with all the other discussion lists.
All right, any other questions for me?
Heather in the chat was requesting a
Yeah.
point person to actually go ahead and talk about that, or follow up, I guess, with Equinox about that.
Okay, we can probably do that. Heather, since you brought it up.
Was that directed to me or was that directed to Heather?
And Shannon's back. Yay.
Yes, I wanted to add to this discussion about Aspen. We also haven't gotten the EBSCO databases into the Aspen Discovery Layer. I know Equinox was working with Mornet to do that, but that process stalled out. So I don't know if that's something we want to also tackle while we're tackling the AR information.
Do we have an Aspen committee? Seriously, just asking. Don't know.
We do not.
We do not know. I don't know of a contact at Syndetics, though. Colleen, does the consortium have a Syndetics?
I can't tell you off the top of my head, but yes, we do have a contact with Syndetics, so.
Okay, so I will get with Colleen and see if I can contact Syndetics about all of this and about the EBSCO. I not with Syndetics, of course, Shannon, but I'll talk to Equinox about EBSCO as well.
Thank you,
Anything
Kate.
else?
I didn't mean to add more work to your load, but if you need help, let me know.
So much.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else about the director's report? If not, we can flip back to Shannon. She was in the middle of her FY26 budget explanation.
I am so sorry. I'm having some spotty internet, so I hope it holds through this portion of the meeting. Come on. Okay, so I'm not sure where I froze on the last portion, the last part anyone heard. I hate to start from the beginning. I was talking about the difference in the FY26 budget over FY25 in regard to payroll expenses.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And so one of the things I talked about is we had transitioned the executive director from a contracted position to a staff position. So we have two staff positions, the consortium cataloger and the executive director. And so that's why you're seeing that increase from FY25 at 62,000 to FY26 at 104,000. Our consortium cataloger is a full-time position and our executive director is a part-time 20-hour per week position. Other than that, the lines under program expenses are very similar to what we've seen in past years, with the exception of adding that discovery layer line. The discovery layer is 15,000 a year up to so many bib records, but then there is an implementation fee for new libraries that come on board. All of that is pass-through expenses. That's cost sharing by those Aspen libraries. So you'll see that money in the revenue line as well, up at the top. So this year we are proposing a budget that would see a surplus of $121,000. As I said at the beginning of the budget report, the state library has increased LSTA funding this year to cover 100% hosting and support from Equinox. And that is to support Missouri Evergreen in transitioning to a possible funding framework that would allow us to be completely independent and sustainable in the future. So that budget surplus would be deposited into the Missouri Evergreen Reserve account and allow us to make that transition if required over the next few years. Questions about the FY 2026 proposed budget?
And we do need to accept that today, correct?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
It goes
This is Krista Kirkwood, and I'm sorry because I did not carefully look at all this information before the meeting. So my apologies to everyone here. So the amount that's going into a reserve fund is because we're getting this extra grant from the state, but we've also increased our fees. So, I mean, I'm kind of intrigued about what the additional amount we're getting from the state. I mean, it's one thing to put state money into a reserve, but to increase our fees to have a reserve, it seems
Krista,
very weird.
Krista, that's a great question. So, we knew that LSTA funding was the Missouri State Library had spoke to us about reducing some of our LSTA funding. We were at like 75% and then 60% and then 50%. So gradually reducing the amount of LSTA funds used to support Missouri Evergreen. And at the same time, Missouri Evergreen would work toward a path where we would be fully financially independent from LSTA funding or as close as possible to that. And so we've been working on a Missouri Evergreen fee schedule in order to accomplish that. So this year is a unique year in that they're going to fund it at 100%. Next year, first, we don't know what LSTA funding might be. It'll be uncertainty, but the likelihood is that it will be at a 50% funded amount should LSTA funding be in place for FY27. So this is an off year that would allow us to put some extra funds into our reserve account and come back in FY '27 with a budget that would be independent of LSTA funds. And that would allow us to perhaps staff Missouri Evergreen at the level we think we need in order to be sustainable and successful as we continue to grow membership. Every time we add members, we add a layer of additional work and complexity, which is wonderful. That's what we want to do, but then you also have to have staffing and other support measures in place to operate a consortium of that size. So these are all conversations we've been having over the past couple of years, trying to develop a model, a budget, a fee schedule that would allow us to be fully sustainable, independent of any funding. So should we get $0 from the state library, we can still operate into the future without threat of failure because we don't have enough funding to operate.
Shannon or Colleen, can you kind of talk about how when we went for the grant this year, we actually requested less than we ever had before, but they came back to us.
Yes, I was fixing to request a lot less, and the state library said, this year, we know we're gonna have funding. We do not know we are going to have funding after this year. And so therefore, to request the full 100% of Equinox hosting and sharing, hosting and support. So yes, I did up the grant considerably from what we had originally planned to ask for. When the membership voted on the increased fees, this was not in place. We did not know that there was going to be any money available for LSTA funding.
Right. So I think my question is, and looking at the chat, yes, everybody, of course, everything goes up, right? Our fees are going to go up. Nothing is going down in price, right? But does that, the amount that you asked for in addition, Colleen, approximately, what is that amount? And how does that relate to the amount that we're putting into reserve?
Actually, I was planning on asking for 100,000. So we're looking at 118,000 comparatively to what I had originally was going to ask from the state.
Okay, so if I'm understanding that correctly, that is a huge chunk of what we're showing in reserves then, which is exactly how it should be, right? The state is giving us more money, we're saving it up. I just didn't understand the relationship between those two issues. You know what I'm saying?
Technically, the grant money is for hosting and support. It is not for reserves.
I understand. It's all a bucket that stuff's going into. It's not, but to just get the relationship of that money is what I'm looking at.
It is pretty much there.
It was a really great question because we do want to understand how the funds are why fees are set at the levels they're set at, how we're balancing what we receive through LSTA versus what we're collecting in fees to make the consortium successful. So it was a really great question. More questions? I will add to that a little bit. And we did talk in FY 2025 that we were at a place with reserves, with our reserve balance and with our fee schedule and our staffing levels that we thought we should start operating at a zero balance budget because we had met some financial goals. So if you look at the column B, the FY 2025 line, that was only going to be a budget surplus of about $2,400. Of course, it was $100,000 less in LSTA funds in 2025 than what we're going to collect in 2026. And so we do know we are trying to balance affordable Missouri Evergreen fees with a robust consortium that has all the resources it needs to be successful. And that's so I just wanted to mention that we are having those conversations and that we are really trying to make this the best balance of the fees that are collected and the consortium services that we provide. More questions about the FY 2026 budget? If not, Colleen, would you like me to go ahead and ask for a vote to approve the budget at this point in the meeting?
Yeah, Well, actually, Carrie should ask.
Yeah, if
ask
you're
me,
ready
not me.
to, I'm happy to. I wanted to make sure all the questions were done. Yeah, for sure. Anyone want to make a motion to accept this?
I'll make the motion, Jake Johnson.
Thank you, Jake. Is there a second?
Sue Lightfoot, well, and also
Thank you,
there's some
Sue.
comments in the chat, but basically, maybe we'll address those just to make sure everybody is on the same page.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
thank you.
Some in here. I'm not monitoring chat, so if somebody wants to read any of the questions out of the chat, I'll be glad to answer them.
There was a question about how often we recalculate fee structure, and some of our colleagues answered that it was every 3 years or so, and Sue
Yes,
says the
that's
strategic plan
correct. Yep.
indicates that it's every 3 years.
Yes.
Every 2 years. Okay. The
My question
strategic
that's not in
plan.
the chat is Shannon treasurer for life? Because who's ever going to want that job if Shannon doesn't?
Well, in
If we
September,
have anything to do with it, Krista, yes.
Yes.
It's a
the
horrible
answer to
job.
that is September 1st, when we have our new board seated, Shannon's going to ask to fill the assistant treasurer position and start passing the baton of this role.
Oh, Shannon, good luck with that, girl. Good luck.
Terrible job. Terrible job. Yeah. Earlier, yeah. Well, let's go ahead and vote on this, and then there was a question earlier, more generic question.
Okay.
So, anybody are you ready for a vote? I want to make sure we've answered
We
all the
didn't have a
questions.
second, I don't think.
Yeah, I did.
I second.
Oh, Sue Lightfoot.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Sue did.
Okay.
For sure. Okay,
Perfect.
all in favor? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, wonderful. The question that was posed earlier is, Steve Campbell was saying, next time when are we required to send out an RFQ for support? When is the next time we're required to do that?
I think that would be an LSTA grant question because would be driving that.
All I know is that Steve just signed a 3-year contract with Equinox.
So probably 3 more years?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that answer that, Steve? Okay, he said thanks. All right, good. Okay, go ahead, Shannon.
Okay.
can I interject for just a second? Remember,
Please
we
do.
are a not-for-profit organization. We are not a political organization.
So we're not mandated by law to do RFP.
RFQs, yeah.
RFQ, but we would be mandated by LSTA funding to do a large purchase analysis. So however, that's being worked out by the grant writer, which is the executive director, thank goodness.
I was glad I didn't have to worry about that portion because Steve had already just re-signed a new contract with them, so.
Okay. Thank you. That was a good point. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, now we're down to Syndetics, Backstage, and Aspen fees.
So on the Missouri fee schedule document that went out, sheet 2 has the breakdown of the other fees that we collect. So let's talk about the 3 fees. One is the Missouri Evergreen membership fee. That's it, and that's this first sheet. It's based on budget. There's a base fee of $950. Any budget over $300,000 then also pays 0.35% of their budget, and that equates to your Missouri Evergreen fee. We also then do a cost sharing formula for cataloging enhancements through Syndetics and authority control through Backstage. That is based on circulation. So the total circ reported to the PLS is used to calculate that fee. We take the total bill that we collect. So here at the bottom, we paid around $4,932 to Syndetics for catalog enhancements and $24,419 to Backstage for authority control. So what we do is take this total bill, we have a multiplier based on total circ, and then we break down that cost per library based on their circulation. And so right now, if you can look through here and see what your fee for your library would be for catalog enhancements and authority control. Those are separately billed lines on your invoice. You should get an invoice dated August 31 for authority control. Because we don't know what we're spending on authority control, we don't bill it till the end of the fiscal year. And then that total cost that we've been billed all through that fiscal year is calculated according to the circulation formula, and that bill is sent out to members. That's an authority control invoice. September 1st, you'll get an invoice that's for the new fiscal year, and that will have the Missouri Evergreen fee and the catalog enhancement fee on it. For Aspen libraries, we are now working on a cost sharing formula. We've asked the Aspen libraries about what they felt was the most equitable cost sharing formula for Aspen, and we have 2 lines here that we've listed, Aspen by CIRC and Aspen by total income. And so that will be a separate fee, a discovery layer fee on invoices to the Aspen libraries. Again, same thing, it's just a cost sharing. It's a breakdown of the total cost paid by those libraries that are Aspen libraries. And we are still talking with Aspen libraries on whether that will be based on CIRC or based on income. So questions regarding the catalog enhancement and authority control fees?
Shannon?
Yes.
I just saw another, this is the problem with doing all these different formulas. Look at Webster Grove. We need to copy that
Okay,
in Aspen.
we'll fix that.
Yeah, we'll fix that, which would decrease some of these others in the Aspen by total
Total
income.
income.
Total. But
One
yeah, we'll have to
thing,
fix that.
I won't go into this much, just to say that currently billing with Missouri Evergreen has become complex in that we do different formulas for different costs. We have 81 members listed right now in this document. To figure all the different fees and cost sharing formulas, it's almost 700 calculations. So I've talked to Colleen about coming back in the future and asking the membership to pass a different process for billing libraries that's much more simple. I have no idea what that is yet. I just want to, just because it was timely that sometimes we miss calculations in these sheets. So we really encourage each library to look at your fees that are being billed and make sure they're accurate, because we are trying to calculate about 700 different cells of data and fees and numbers. And I'm perfect, but Colleen messes up sometimes. I'm just teasing.
Okay, I'll blame the one that I sent to the board on Steve, because that one was catalog enhancement and authority control, and I hadn't touched those categories.
I do
Yeah.
believe at this point, Colleen, you blame every single thing on Steve,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Because
sure,
he is
of
not
course.
here anymore,
Here,
so
yeah.
every
Well,
problem.
the Aspen one was me, but the cataloging and authority control was Steve. And that's what we're saying. It's very, very complex, a lot of different formulas, and there's gotta be a better way.
It is.
So can I ask a general question? And I'm sorry, I'm asking way too many questions in this meeting, but okay, so the fee went up to 950 or whatever, but the amount, and I'm just asking, I guess the board in general or whoever talked about this, the $300,000 you know, threshold for the additional amount. I mean, did you talk about adjusting that at all? Because I mean, that $300,000 is worth less now than it was when that was first decided. You know what I'm saying? Was that something that was taken into consideration, or?
Krista, are you meaning like raise it to 500,000 before we charge the extra multiplier? Is that the
Right,
question?
or maybe
Oh.
330,000. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if you were just to even just do it as a you know,
Yeah.
for inflation. So
Okay.
that 300,000 kept the same, you know, theoretical buying power or whatever. Was that discussed at all?
It was not, but it's a really great point that we probably should have considered, but no,
Yeah.
we did not. We did not have that conversation surrounding that cutoff of the
Okay,
budget.
yeah, because I mean, it has absolutely nothing to do with my library, but I'm just a curious person and I like talking about those possibilities, and I didn't know if you guys had talked about it or not.
I did not. We did not address that as a board, but I definitely will be taking that back to the board to discuss for the future. Absolutely, because I do think that's an important, a very valid point that we should be considering.
There's also a question in the chat.
Yes.
Will the formula need to change in the future because of 0% counties?
I don't know what 0% counties mean.
Nor do I.
The
counties that are facing the property tax legislation. So Stone County is one where, in the future, if it goes through with the voters, which it will, our real estate revenue will not increase. So theoretically, our budget is not going to increase year over year, particularly. It might just by a little tiny bit. But so for those of us that are 0% counties, that would keep our evergreen payment pretty much stagnant year over year. Whereas other libraries would have increases because they might not be a 0% county. And so we wouldn't be accounted for in that inflation. So I was just wondering if maybe the formula is going to need to change because of that, or how many of us even are 0% counties? And is that going to affect, our consortium revenue in a big way in the future? I'm looking at probably 5 years out when it's going to actually really start impacting me. But just something to maybe be thinking about.
Rebecca, let me ask a follow-up question to that. Are you asking, are we going to freeze? Well, it would in essence almost freeze the Missouri Evergreen fee for that library because their budget would be frozen outside of the small increase in the base fee, and those increases in base are very small.
Yeah.
Or are you asking, are we going to make an adjustment so it's more equitable for Missouri Evergreen members across the board? So you're saying at most libraries, their fee will increase at a higher exponential rate than a 0% library. So you're looking for fairness amongst membership? Or are you looking for affordability for those 0% libraries, or both?
Kind of both. It just something to be aware of that may impact our consortium funding, depending on how many of our member libraries are 0% libraries. And recognizing that, fairness across membership. If you have, 30 members that are not 0% counties, they're going to be contributing quite a bit more over the future. Whereas we would be kind of flat, so just, kind of keeping that in mind, because we are relatively heavy users of Evergreen as well. So, what is equitable, what is fair, but also what can we reasonably be able to do in the future, knowing that our income is going to be limited.
That's good.
And can I interject for a moment? Can you talk about how our fees are based? They're based on our total income according to the PLS, correct?
Right.
So even that fluctuates year to year to year for every library because it's total income, correct?
Correct. So there would be, of course, I'm sure most of us are 95% funded by our tax base, but there are then any of the other fees we collect, gifts and donations, service fees. All of those, we do use the total income column. So any of those revenues that you collect at your library are considered when we're figuring the Missouri Evergreen fee. So it's, but I'm assuming that fluctuation, as Rebecca mentioned, if it's a 0% county, that fluctuation probably will be minimal because I'm sure 95% of what your funding comes from your tax base.
So it is pretty much already equitable as it stands right now. And just realize that as we move forward with all of these Senate bills, property tax challenges, things like that, that there might be a time in the future where the executive board is going to look at this and realize that these counties, 0%, 5%, whatever it is, that their income levels will be stagnated, but that will be reflected in our fee schedule.
As far as fairness, as far as affordability, that will be addressed because the fees based on the total income, and that total income will be fixed-ish.
So that kind of goes back to Krista's suggestion about where's that bar? Right now we have that bar at what, 300,000 or whatever, and then maybe we need to move that bar. in order to make some of those. But all of this is projecture. We don't know what's going to happen until it happens. But yeah, I understand everybody's concerned about with property taxes and all of that going away. But even if it was total income of all revenue, even sales tax revenue would be part of this equation as well, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Because like Poplar Bluff is all sales tax, and of course that's what our total income is.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate that.
Let me talk one more thing too, and that's not what I wanted to show you. Hang on. Yes, we should be looking at, so if we were to raise the bar from 300,000 to 400,000, then of course that would reduce the Missouri Evergreen fees that we collect. And the idea of that would be to support libraries with smaller budgets and making sure Missouri Evergreen is an affordable option for them. But let me show you one thing from the FY 2026 budget, and we could tighten these numbers, we really could, but our total expense line at the end of the day is 484,000. So no matter where we fell on that, we have to collect enough money. If we're not being subsidized with LSTA funds, our fee structure and our cost sharing formulas have to come back and at least be $484,000 in order to be sustainable and able to continue into the future. Of course, that amount will change. It will increase every year, obviously. We could come up here and tighten some of these budget lines to try to reduce this to this 484,000 sum, but let's even say we got it to 450,000, but we were really running a tight ship. That Missouri Evergreen fees, if we don't have an LSTA subsidy, those fees still have to, at the end of the day, come up to 484,000. And in the current fee schedule we have, they come up to 333. So I just kind of want to talk, well, let's do 387 because those cost sharing lines should be included. So that's still shy of our 484,000 in expenses it takes to run us as we are now. I just want to point that out. So that's what I'm talking about, those conversations back to being affordable, being reasonable, trying to support libraries the best we can, but also it takes money to run a system of this size, and we've got to make sure that money's there in order to do that. So it's a constant conversation about balance. How can we strike the best win-win cost between fees and operating a system that has the support it needs in order to be successful?
Very good. We do need to adopt these fees so we can jump into 2026 year.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Yes, we do.
So this year ends August 31.
Yes.
FY 2026 begins September 1st.
Right. So would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll
I
make the
move
motion.
that we adopt this budget. Krista Van Heerway.
I'll take Krista number 1 and Jake is the second. Unless you object.
Works for me.
Okay. Are there any more questions before we do this? I don't want to leave anyone hanging out.
The ones that would not be adopted yet are the Aspen fees, because we've got two different ways of doing those. And if you want to adopt those today, then you would have to have a separate motion.
Okay, so now we're doing Syndetics and Backstage first then.
Yeah.
Okay. So all in favor of adopting Syndetics and Backstage, say aye or thumbs up or whatever. Okay.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Any opposed? Great. Thank you. All right. So Aspen fees, go with that.
I had originally
Hey,
calculated
can
it.
guys, can we pause for a second? I thought we had a
Go ahead.
motion to approve the new fee schedule.
We have previously
Motion was to approve the budget.
We did that already.
Yeah, no, this
We
should
did.
have been to improve the Syndetics and the Backstage fees. We already approved the fee schedule.
Yeah, the fee
Okay.
schedule was taken by an electronic vote.
Okay.
On Aspen, I had originally submitted it to the board as, based on the circulation that we had used for the others. But then I was informed that, the Aspen Libraries had requested, back in April or so, to be billed as part of, a budget, not serve. So I figured it out both ways. It's up to you guys to figure out which way you want to adopt.
Today, Colleen, so Aspen Libraries need to decide today how we want to be billed?
Well, that's the thing. Do you want just Aspen Libraries to decide it, or do you want the membership to decide it?
Why would the membership decide if they weren't doing Aspen?
Because they are actually, some of them are joining Aspen, and they weren't part of that original group. Some more will be joining in the spring. Some more, we hope to have quite a few of the libraries on Aspen.
So the question is billing it along with the fee schedule.
Or
Is that what we're asking for the general
Mhm.
membership to have the practice to add Aspen Libraries to the fee schedule along with Synthetics and Backstage?
We're asking about whether you want Aspen's shared cost to be formulated based on circulation or be formulated based on total income. There was a split consensus when we started having these conversations with the pilot libraries that boarded previously.
Do either of those numbers, circulation does circulation impact Aspen billing or cost?
No, bib records are what
Okay.
impact Aspen billing. So I don't know, this one is a little bit off because we don't have the Webster
Yeah.
numbers in there, and Colleen, I only have view only, so I can't make a change live to this.
Let me go to that, and make that. Hang on.
So we're showing these costs side by side. It's really almost a wash. There's not a big difference no matter how you figure. It looks like right now, the difference in billing is pretty minute. But
Well,
we
the
did-
libraries got together and talked about it and we voted on it. And yes, that was pre, the additional Aspen libraries. If anybody wanted to get back together and vote on it with additional libraries, why wouldn't our vote that we took before be the thing that we're looking at now?
Yes, that's what I would question. So which way was it originally voted?
Based on income.
What? Oh, my numbers. That makes this figure wrong.
all right, I'll fix that, Colleen, if you.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll come back and fix that.
So why are we questioning in a different direction?
Because when we voted, it was just the 13, 14 libraries that voted, but now we have 5 more coming on and we have more, that it will be, so we can
More
either.
coming on in the spring, also, so.
Well, if they're essentially a wash, I don't know that I would do it every time a few more join. I think you would have it until, I would say that group would then come up with a reason to want to change it.
Agreed. That's what we'd like to do, is go ahead and do a vote for, should the cost sharing formula be based on CIRC or be based on total income? That's the decision of the membership, and that's how we'll figure it this day forward.
I'll make a motion that the Aspen costs be allocated by total income.
I second that.
Okay, wonderful. All in favor?
aye.
Great.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Great, thank you guys. That was good.
Who was
All
my
right.
second on that? Sorry, I'm
Go
typing.
ahead,
Who was the second?
Jake,
Thank you.
wasn't it?
It was
No, it was
me.
Kate Coleman. It was Kate Coleman,
Okay, there was enough voices there, I couldn't
not
tell.
Jake Coleman. Sorry.
Thank you.
Apologies. Okay, now we're down to the financial report with Amigos. And Shannon, of course.
Hey,
Yay.
Shannon officially resigns her position. Okay. These are our financial reports as of, sorry guys, let me get my controls out of the way so I can see my own screen. These are the financial reports as of July 31, 2025. I'll draw your attention to this bottom line here, currently in the bank being our Commerce checking account and our Brookmont investment account, we have $308,000. You'll see the net income right now is at negative 26,000. We're always in this position at the end of our fiscal year where we're prepaying expenses for FY 2026, but we're still waiting to receive some FY 2025 revenue, namely from the grant and from the authority control invoices. So we'll dip down pretty low through September 30th. And then in October, you'll start seeing this line become much more healthy based on receiving the first payment of the grant for FY 26, the final payment of the grant for FY 2025, and FY 2026 Missouri Evergreen membership fees. So this line will look pretty low for the next couple financial reports until the October 30th report. Let's go to year to date. So here we are with budgets versus actuals through July 31. We have one more month for the fiscal year to wrap up. So here you'll see right now we have 23,000 listed as what we'll recover for authority control. That line will look more like 25,000, and then we still have 50,000 on the grant. So we have $75,000 in revenue we're still waiting to receive for FY 2025. But we've paid all of our expenses pretty much for the year outside of payroll expenses for Liz and Colleen through August 31. I'll just kind of go through this pretty quickly. Please let me know if there's a line that you think is outside of what you expected or that you'd like more information about. So based on where we are now, 75, 50, I imagine we'll have about 25 to 30,000 in a budget surplus when we finally pay all of our expenses and receive all of our revenues, I expect. So I think that we'll close out the year with about 330,000 in the fiscal year, about $330,000 in the bank. That is a breakdown between our reserve fund, our development fund, and unrestricted funds, that 330,000-ish number.
Any questions? This seems very calm. Okay. Suspicious. Anyway, we need to accept this. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Terry. Any
I'll
second? Thank you. Who is that?
Tony Miller.
Thank you, Tony Miller. You didn't pop up, so I wasn't sure. I appreciate that. All in favor? All right, awesome.
Aye.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, we are moving on to committee reports now. So cataloging, Kate Coleman.
Gosh, I thought Shannon was never going to be quiet. All right, I just want to hit a few things that the cataloging committee is working on. First and foremost, the libraries across the consortium that are having their CERC people take the basic certification, cataloging certification for baby cat permissions. Thank you so much. Our numbers have kind of exploded for basic cataloging, and we love to see it. We love people in the branches that are not catalogers knowing just a little bit more about cataloging. But sorry, before I go on, Kristen from Amigos just said in the chat, if anyone was curious about the $1 donation, she was setting up a new check scanner. So that's what that was. And then I wanted to talk about the KPAC search results. There have been a couple email threads about that. We are seeing some results that, you know, are not what we expect. And that does come down to cataloging, kind of unfortunately, because it's in a very kind of buried field that determines this. So it is something that the cataloging committee is considering and looking at, and hopefully trying to improve. And then another thing that the cataloging committee was approached with was some weeding best practices and changing item statuses, a timeline for that. So that is a project that we are working on to present to the board and then to the membership in the next several months. Our next cataloging meeting is September 8th. I will no longer be chair of the cataloging committee for the first time in I don't know how long. Sarah from Cass will be our cataloging chair. So if you have any issues, take them up with her. Anyone have any questions?
Wonderful. Thank you. But you will be chair of this, so haha. And I
Yeah.
won't.
Not
Okay.
much of a trade-off.
I know. Yes. Circulation committee.
All right, I did want to just bring to all of the libraries that the Circulation Committee is moving forward on finalizing permissions. We're almost there. The next step, probably happening in the next week, is to implement the changes that we have requested in the test server. And then once we feel like we've adequately tested, it's doing what we think it should do, we will then give libraries notice, amount of time before we move it to the production server. So there will be, probably my goal is at the October meeting to be able to say, okay, everything is good. This is when we'll make the switch. But that has been a year-long process, and we're coming hopefully to the end of it. The other thing is St. Joe was the one who asked about this, but they wanted to send out their courtesy notices later in the morning so that they would have time to check in everything from their book drop. We checked with Equinox, and that is a library by library choice. So if you want to adjust your times, feel free to contact Equinox and they can do that for you. Our next meeting is the 26th at 11. So hopefully we'll see you then. Is there any other questions?
Great. Thank you, Rhonda. Is Tony here to do a report?
I am here.
All right.
Believe it or not, I made it. We have been working on cleaning up some of the reports, at least in the ME section of shared folders. Trying to get to everything a little more organized and making sure the reports that are there are good reports that will return the numbers you need. We also, later today, we'll have a training on the reports you can use for the PLS that are available in Webby. And we look forward to everyone coming to that. That meeting will be at 2 today, if anyone can come. That's about it from us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, and so glad it's being recorded. That's right. Okay, Leanne?
Hello, yes, I'm here. So I know Colleen went over all of the different libraries we are working on bringing in to Evergreen. So it's going to keep us pretty busy this coming year. So I won't go over all of that since she covered the list of the libraries coming on. We are working as a committee on creating the local admin manual for Missouri Evergreen to kind of help with the admin side of working with Evergreen. So we are moving along with that pretty good. We're hoping to get that completed by the end of September. That way, as the new libraries come on board, they can kind of have this as a resource. So then we will just update that as we need to, as we do updates, to Evergreen as needed. And then the next thing that we've been working on, or at least Mary Kay has really been working on, is creating in Odoo a Mentoring the Mentor program. So that will just be a guide to help the libraries that will be mentoring the new libraries coming on board. And on that note too, we do appreciate any library that is willing to assist with mentoring when we do have the new libraries. I believe I just got an email from Mary Kay that we now have a mentor for the Ozark Regional Library. So that's very important since they are coming up very, very quickly. So yeah, if we reach out, if there's any way at all possible that you are able to mentor for us, it's greatly appreciated. We can always use other people with our committee. So if you're interested in this at all, feel free to reach out to me or Mary Kay even. Our next meeting is going to be September 10th at 1 o'clock. Any questions?
Yeah, any questions?
I would like to just put in a plug for CAN. I'm sorry. One of the feedback that we get so often from Missouri Evergreen members is the need for training and the need for, you know, keeping everybody up to date. And that is what CAN does for Missouri Evergreen. So if you have anybody that could help with that committee, I think they would appreciate it. They do great work for us, and we're always bringing new stuff to them that we would like them to do. And the only way they can do that is if they get some help. CAN stands for Consortium Assistance Network.
Yes.
Consortium Assistance
Network. Very good. Thank you. Very well said. All right. Jane from Mala.
I am here, but for some reason my camera worked yesterday just fine, and today it's not. So I just will look like a little black box for you all. I sent out a message this morning about the labeling new tracking process. We were hoping when we last spoke at MPLD and last spoke at the Evergreen training, you know, we were hoping it was going to start in July. I anticipated it would not start, but the training would start on our end, and everything has just been delayed. People take vacations in the summer. We kind of heard some info from some of, I don't know if there were your libraries or not, but that, you know, everyone was really busy with summer reading. So even if it started later, that was going to be fine. So our first meeting is scheduled for Monday afternoon, the 18th. So unfortunately, I wasn't at the director meeting last week when perhaps erroneous understanding of what Janet meant when it was coming soon happened. And so we had a lively meet and greet, which again, I was out of town last week. So Katrina handled, and I think many of you were there. And so basically, we don't really have any more information than I had when I talked to you in April and in June. The meeting will be here, the people here at the office, and then Corey from the State Library is going to join us too, because he has a great way of looking at things that in just a conversation in June, he was like, you could do this and you could do this, and just a casual conversation. So I was like, hey, Corey, do you want to join us? After we have that meeting, training, we'll have a way better idea of what all this entails. But mostly what I wanted to convey today is we are not in a rush. There's just 4 of us here in this office. So if we send this out loose to our more than 125 libraries that will be doing this without lots of best practices, etc., we couldn't handle the phone calls, let alone on top of all the regular things that happen. So I just wanted to reassure people, we are looking at a very lengthy getting up to speed everybody, which may look like we right now have, I'm trying to count real quick, 8 libraries that have agreed to be pilot program libraries for us. Majority are Evergreen libraries. We have Cape, we have Cass County, we have North Kansas City, we have St. Joe, we have then we have in Nevada, and then we have Kansas City, Trails, and Missouri State Library. So all of these, but 2 are also 5-day-a-week libraries. So these are not the largest libraries in Evergreen, but some pretty substantial libraries on volume. We also have a couple smaller libraries, so we can sort of see what it's going to look like. Then my anticipation is we will go through this. We'll make some training videos. We'll make training documentation. They'll be playing with it. And then the next step will maybe to be adding in, maybe 8 more libraries, maybe some of the smaller libraries to see what's this actually gonna look like. So you probably won't hear anything about this except for these 8 libraries for a while, because we're not going to be sending out daily reports that until we know it's going to work for everybody. That's what our goal is, to get it to work for everybody without saying, and now we've done this, because the next week we may find a library that's like, hey, we thought that was working, but it's not actually working as we envisioned. Some of these libraries are probably, we won't be visiting Cape, sorry, Katie, but most of the other ones are pretty drivable for us. So our anticipation is we'll be going out and, looking at the lay of the workspace, making, actually taking videos, training videos in libraries, because we have no ILS system here. We have no books here. We just are a transport office. So we want to, try to go out and see this. Nevada was so nice to invite us first. They were the first invitation. Well, right now they're only invitation, but we'll just invite ourselves. That's fine. There's a question in there. Yes, we have Cass's multiple, St. Joe. So we've got a couple of those started with that multiple branch was the question, multiple branches. So I wish this meeting was after our training. Originally, our training was to be a couple of weeks ago, but the software company wasn't quite ready. And there's no reason we're not going to come to a training when the software is like, well, we still got 2 little tweaks. It's like, no, we don't need 2 little tweaks to start this whole process with. So we're looking forward to that on Monday afternoon. I know many of you probably have questions, but my answer is probably just going to be, we just don't know. But I'm happy to answer any questions. And the other news was that we finished our grant report. We were again higher than with 130,000 higher volume than last year. So thanks for reporting all of that. Continue to report that breakdown of the Mobius, Amigos, Kokomo kind of things. That's helpful for us, even though our contract is now set for 3 years with Capital Express. Some of you had some changes made in the new year, and whenever that happens, the whole system kind of just vomits and has a meltdown. So July had some issues with, and I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know how many of those were Evergreen libraries. We don't always think about it as Evergreen versus, we often think about it more as the number of days. So we think we're getting that under control. But now we have the head guy at Capital Express very involved. And so we're now looking at, we think maybe some libraries might be using some of our, those other label makers erroneously. So don't be surprised if we call you just to say, hey, you're in, if you put this in, what does your label look like? Because again, on our end, it looks slightly different, because those label makers, you choose where they're coming from. I'll actually probably be calling more likely actually Amigos libraries or Mobius libraries, because we're just seeing some weird labels and want to kind of get that all tracked down before we go into this other new, labeling thing. So any other questions? I don't see anything in chat.
Thank you, Jane. Any questions at all? Thank you, Jane.
Yeah, and we will have I'm sure bustling meet and greet next month. Because by then we'll have, you know, maybe a couple weeks of some ideas of how things are going. So we may not, who knows? It's just, we just don't know what we don't know. And I have a feeling we have like all of us attending the meeting on Monday have like, oh, that's gonna do this, and it's gonna do this, and we'll find out what it does. So,
Okay.
thanks all.
Thank you. All right, Corey from the State Library.
Okay, so hello to everyone. So I am the new liaison for the State Library. Janet has a few other things on her plate now that she didn't used to, so we've kind of made that switch over. So new to this group, but many of you know me as the person that's constantly pestering you about reports and things like that. So as far as what's going on here, we have done our LSTA grant renewals for the Evergreen project. As we said, that we're doing full funding this year, and we put a large amount in the budget for migrations because we are hoping that just in case something were to happen to LSTA funds, that this project could be sustainable on its own. So we're trying to get as many people in as we can right now to hopefully make sure that happens. We don't know anything about the future of the LSTA fundings, but we are hoping for the best, but making a backup plan for the worst, and this is just part of that. We know the funding is in the current Senate budget proposals, but we have to worry about the renewal for IMLS and anything else that can happen in the budget process, and it's kind of a shaky time for LSTA funding. So that's where we're at. As far as other things we've got going on, we are putting together state aid payments, hoping to have totals soon for the payments that are going to go out in October. It looks like funding is going to be pretty flat for the year. Most of you should be expecting what you got last year, except for those equalization libraries that are right on the edge can have some payments vary year to year. But generally, everyone should be getting about the same amount of money. Public library survey is going to go out tomorrow. I know you all put a lot of work into that, running those reports and all of that. So if you have questions about that process, I'm your person for that. Circulation, collections, many of that. Grants, technology mini grants are going to be opening very soon if they're not already up. I don't know when Terry's going to post those. He might have already, but applications for those are due in October. If anyone's interested in that. And then summer library program is done and the reports are due on September 15th. If anyone here does do those reports and tried to go in early and submit them, there was a little hiccup with the system about some stuff that hadn't been marked off yet. So if you had trouble, those all should be working now. And that's about it. We're doing library visits ongoing right now, focusing on grant visits, but we may be reaching out to your library and saying, hey, we're coming to visit. So look out for us there.
And we enjoyed having you.
Yep, we got to see Carrie just this week.
The highlight of this week, I'm sure. Thank you, Corey. Any questions? Okay, we have other matters. Do we have any other matters? Okay. I am looking for anyone who would like to adjourn.
Sorry, I have another matter.
I knew you would, Kate. That's why I was
know.
waiting. Okay.
I want to say thank you, Carrie, for guiding us for the
Aw.
past year. This is Carrie's last membership meeting as our chair, and thank you for everything you've done for us, Carrie.
You are welcome. It was an honor. And I'm trying to get going, yay! I mean, like, oh. It was fun though. Thank you for letting me do it.
We're operating budget above or below $500,000.
Something about a budget
I don't need
question.
specific numbers, that's
I have no clue. That was a budget question, but you're welcome. Okay, you guys are welcome. And I appreciate you letting me do it. It was fun and I learned a lot from much smarter people than me. So thank you, Kate. How about now for adjournment?
I'll make the
Sure,
motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Sue. All in favor, just wave goodbye. Bye.
Bye, everyone.